And
Right.
I was saying, well, we have to go through all the different potential channels, VAMS, MyChart, CVS, Walgreens. There are a whole bunch of different options, but.
Right.
All local, all morning. The Fox 61 Morning News starts now.
Good morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here for the Fox 61 Morning News at 7:30. I'm Tim Lammers.
And I'm Eric Arias. Hope your Friday is off to a good start so far. We've got a live look here. Check this out. This is Iceland. Volcanic activity has somewhat decreased after a volcano erupted a week ago there in Iceland. Now, despite the reduction in activity, the lava is still flowing there. It still poses a local hazard. People in the area are being asked to close windows, stay indoors because of the volcanic gas pollution. And to be honest, I've been seeing, a bunch of stuff online where people are trying to cook things.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that I didn't see.
And put things in the lava, but they're clearly getting too close.
Yeah. I did see some drone video going right over that as it was erupting. It's the most amazing drone video I think I've ever seen.
But yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, there you go.
Definitely some people are getting too close.
It just looks like something out of Lord of the Rings or something like that.
I know, right? That
All right,
makes it so much cooler.
Yeah. Hartford and New Haven, definitely different pictures there. At least we can see Hartford, but it is warm, it's foggy, it's rainy in some parts of the state.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at now.
Elm City is a big spot for the fog the last few days, almost like the whole week. We're checking it with meteorologist Dana Moranti for some details when the fog is going to burn off. And you said that the rain is going to clear out about noonish, right?
Yeah. In the noontime hour, maybe the early afternoon, we'll start to see that rain finally moving out. The cool thing about the Iceland volcano, or one interesting fact about that, was the scientists who set up that camera that we were looking at, that live streaming camera, they set it up as the magma, the lava was starting to get a little closer towards where they were. And then they had their suits on and all that. And then they got in front of the camera and they posed for a selfie with their thumbs up. They were like, yeah, we set this up. So a huge shout out to those volcanologists who were out there studying this, and they're learning a lot from it. So it's in a way kind of a net positive. Hopefully it's a good thing, but obviously we don't want to see any property damage or anything like that, and hopefully people stay safe out there in Iceland. But here in Connecticut, we don't have any active volcanoes, luckily, and we do have some pretty quiet weather on the way for the middle of the day as we kind of gradually taper off this rain, but still a little bit of rain on the radar right now, showing across parts of the New Haven area up towards Woodbridge and Derby and Shelton, right along the valley there. You go towards Monroe and Newtown, Oxford, all seeing some of those showers. Take you up a little farther to the north around Terryville, Plymouth, Bristol, and even up towards the northern portions of the state, kind of bouncing around there on radar, but around Barkhamsted, not too far from the reservoir, seeing a little bit of those moderate showers. And even where it's not raining on the radar, we still are seeing some drizzle in a few areas and a lot of fog. So just kind of a dreary morning. As we mentioned, it is warm. Temperatures in the 50s across most of the state. Bridgeport holding on to 47, but 50s for the rest of us. And that fog is pretty thick out there. I mean, it's dense fog you're going to have to run into across some parts of the state. So give yourself a little extra time if you have to be out, as we do have some issues with that fog and limited visibility. By the middle of the day, there's 11:30, still showing some showers. Could even be a rumble of thunder in a few locations. I don't think that's incredibly likely, but one or two towns could have it. And then by this afternoon, right around like 1 or 2 o'clock, we'll start to clear out from west to east, and that's when the wind will pick up. And in fact, we will have some very gusty winds today. A wind advisory in effect for the entire area, for the possibility for some wind gusts up around 40, possibly near 50 miles per hour. So after that morning shower chance, it's going to get windy during the day and clearing out in the afternoon as temperatures really bump up into the 70s across a good chunk of the state, or the 70-degree range, we'll say. I don't think we're going to get it well into the 70s, but 70 degrees or so with warm temperatures on tap for the afternoon. By tomorrow, we'll keep the sunshine around, and then Sunday looks a little bit rainy. We'll go over the latest forecast with Matt Scott coming up in a little bit. It's the latest for now. I'll send it back to you.
It is 7:36 this morning, and there's been another shift in the state's vaccine schedule. By this time next week, everybody in Connecticut over the age of 16, or 16 and up, we should say, will be eligible to get a COVID-19 shot. Whether you can actually get one quickly, that might be another story.
Now, that date is several days ahead of when the state originally planned to phase in the next group of eligible residents. With vaccine rollout speeding up and all Connecticut residents soon eligible, we're talking once again with Dr. Syed Hussein.
Doctor, good morning. Are you there?
Morning, I'm here.
Glad to have you again. Thank you for taking the time to answer the questions that our viewers have written in. And we want to start with a question from Evelyn. She is asking a question I know we've asked before. Curious to see if there's an update. At this point, do we have an idea if we're going to have to get this COVID vaccine every year like we do with the flu shot? Or will that depend on the variants and how strong or quickly they spread?
So, Evelyn, that's a great question, and we don't have a definitive answer yet. And couple reasons. And first one is the variant that you described. So it all depends on how the virus continues to evolve and behave, and if there are additional mutations and a variant that becomes the dominant strain. But also, how do the variants react to the currently licensed vaccines? We have 3 in the U.S. now that have received emergency use authorization. So, for instance, we know the B.1.1.7 variant or the UK variant is set to become the dominant strain in the coming weeks in the United States. But we also know that the currently available vaccines are effective against that particular variant. Now, what we also are a little careful about here is the B.1.357 variant, which is also known as the South African variant, is known to dodge some of the antibodies produced from vaccines. So that's a variant that would be of concern. Now, if a variant like the B.1.357 becomes dominant, then we would be looking at a new vaccine or a booster dose or something along those lines, which Moderna and Pfizer have already started looking into in case we need to go down that route. So time will tell whether this will become an annual vaccine.
Well, Dr. Zane, we have a question here from Dorothy. She says, if you become very ill, vomiting, no energy, and chills for 5 days after the first Pfizer shot, should I still get the second one?
So a couple points. So based on the data from the clinical studies, but also the fact that we've now administered in this country alone 130 million doses of predominantly Pfizer and Moderna, and to a much lesser extent Johnson & Johnson, and we haven't seen such concerning side effects. The side effect profile that we've seen mostly in vaccine recipients includes what we know from the studies. So pain, injections, site pain, redness, swelling, fever, chills, body aches. It is unlikely that side effects will last more than 24 to 48 hours. You described lasting for 5 days. So please talk to your physician to make sure there's nothing else that needs to be addressed.
Okay, doctor, thank you. Next question from Patrick. He wrote in to say, is it necessary to wait 90 days to get the vaccine after you've been diagnosed with COVID? According to the CDC website, it appears that only those who have been treated with an antiviral or plasma therapy need to wait. So if your case was mild and you only needed over-the-counter medicines, is it necessary to wait that long?
It's not. So if your acute symptoms have resolved and the 10 to 14-day isolation period is over, and if it's your turn, you're eligible to get the vaccine, please get vaccinated. You do not need to wait 90 days. The CDC says you may choose to do so because you may have antibodies, but I encourage patients and folks that have recovered from COVID-19 to please get vaccinated as soon as possible. Now, it is true, however, if you've received one of the new monoclonal antibody treatments for COVID, or you've received convalescent plasma, then you need to wait 90 days. So there's no reaction or interaction between what you've received as well as the vaccine that you will receive.
Doctor, I want to ask you about the Pfizer trials for kids that are happening right now. How soon do you think kids under 16 would be vaccinated? And I know some people have some concerns that kids that young, do they really need the vaccine? Because I think as we have seen that maybe they're not quite as susceptible to it as older folks are.
So we have seen newer case reports of children still continuing to get infected. So it is important for us to get to the herd immunity level that children are included. We anticipate sometime around summer, late summer, we will have additional data available, and it will go through the FDA process. The data will be looked at, and hopefully we'll have something available for 16 and below.
Okay. Well, Dr. Hussain, thank you so much for taking the time to address all those viewer questions. You've been so good about coming on with us every Friday and then some on top of it, because the questions keep coming in. So we do appreciate your continued vigilance with this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And have a great weekend, Doctor.
You too. Thank you very much.
And for those of you at home, if you have a question that you would like Dr. Hussain to answer, email us at share61@fox61.com. And you can always text us questions as well, 860-527-6161.
In a unanimous vote, the Connecticut House of Representatives approved an executive order that relaxes restrictions on outdoor dining at restaurants.
Fox 61's Lauren Zenzi is joining us live from West Hartford Center right now with much more on this. Lauren, good morning.
Good morning, Tim and Erica. This is really great news for the restaurant industry. You know, the restaurant industry was one of the hardest hit industries throughout the pandemic. People weren't able to go inside of restaurants having to get really creative, which is why outdoor dining during the warmer months and even the winter months, places got really creative when it comes to outdoor dining. But this new piece of legislation will also be allowing municipalities to expedite permanent changes to their zoning rules if they wish to expand the availability of outdoor dining and retail. Now, in a tweet, Governor Ned Lamont said, quote, "These relaxed rules could be the start of a new CT tradition that increases activities in our towns and supports small businesses." Now, here in West Hartford last summer, the town set up concrete barriers. The road barriers were initially designed to boost businesses during the pandemic so customers could be served outside safely. And I actually just spoke with the West Hartford Police Department, and they said that the city of West Hartford plans on doing that again. We're right here on LaSalle Road. Tons of local businesses here in the town of West Hartford, right on LaSalle Road, Farmington Avenue. There are pretty much endless outdoor dining opportunities. So this just means that the sky is the limit when it comes to outdoor dining. And hopefully this will just help all of these local restaurants, give them that boost that they need to get through just another few months of this pandemic. Hopefully this is really good news for them. Reporting in West Hartford, Lauren Zenzi, Fox 61 News. Tim and Erica.
Okay, Lauren, thank you for that update.
Coming up next here in this morning's edition of Student News, we're learning more about the Connecticut River. Our team of student journalists tackling the question, just how clean is it? We'll get you the answer ahead.
Here's another live look from the Hartford City camera, where there's a reason we're showing you Hartford. New Haven still socked in by fog. It is warm, certainly. It is rainy, but the rain's not going to last. We'll have the forecast when we come back.